Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanya, also known as Babygyal Reddit on Bookstagram, Book Talk, and now on BookTube. And today I'm going to be doing my February wrap up. Why did I do that? Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap up. I read 14 books this month, which is not bad. I felt like I struggled a little bit of the way through. I was in a reading slump and I was just busy. I only read 14, but I feel like that's still a win for me. So if you're interested in seeing all the books I read in the month of February, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I started off the month with Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan for my book club. If you didn't know, I have a book club on Fable called Baddies Read Books, BRB, reading hot girl shit, period. So I started off the month with Before I Let Go with my book club by Kennedy Ryan. This is, I want to say second chance, but like not really, because they were married and now they're divorced, but they're still co-parenting their kids. So it's like marriage reconciliation, second chance, we divorced and I want you back type situation. The story follows Yasmin and Josiah, who have been recently divorced for about a year now. They share 2 children together and a business together, a restaurant. Their marriage kind of fell apart after they both lost people. So they lost their baby, and Josiah's aunt, was it his grandmother, passed away, and it was kind of back to back. They went through a horrible period. Yasmin really went through it, and she felt the best thing for them to do at that moment was to not be together anymore. And it's expressed in the book multiple times. Like, it's obvious she was the one who wanted the divorce and he did not. In this book, we kind of see them now a year later. Yasmin has been in therapy, she's been working through it, and they're still very much entangled in each other's lives because, like I said, they own a business together and they are still raising their kids together. Josiah starts to date unwillingly because basically someone starts creeping up on her territory, and Yasmin realizes that she might have made a mistake. This book did things to me that I don't even really understand or can't even put into words. The amount of emotion and just the storytelling of it all really made it feel like I was the one who lost a child, or I was the one who was going through a divorce. Like, it was so impactful and powerful reading the words and reading, you know, how they were grieving separately in their own different ways and just trying to pick up the pieces of everything that broke them. It's some very heavy topics, like check your trigger warnings for sure and your content warnings. But this book was the most amazing thing I've ever read. Kennedy Ryan can write her ass off, okay? And you can tell she did extensive research because there are ample, you know, references to her being in therapy, and then, you know, just Josiah eventually starts therapy, and just watching that, the kids notice things. The daughter, I wanted to slap her though. Didn't want to slap that little one, just want to. But it was the most beautiful thing ever. I have dealt with my fair share of grief in my life. So reading it on paper, how she went through it, how she's dealing with it, I resonated with that a lot. And so it was just a beautiful story. It was also very funny. Like, the dog, they share a dog, and the dog is like hilarious. Their kids are cute, they're friends, the circle, like, it was just a well-rounded story, and I enjoyed it. For my book club, I really wanted to like read it over the course of the month, but I read like 80% of it on day 1. So then I forced myself not to read any of it, and then I finished it like last week. I had like 4 chapters left. I really enjoyed that, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I reread one of my favorite books. It's an MM, Best Friends to Lovers. It's 𝐒𝐸 by Marley Valentine. There is cheating in this book, so if that's not your thing, then, you know, don't read it. But it is one of my favorite books of all time. Jordan and 𝐒𝐸 have been friends, best friends since they were little. He's getting married. Jordan is getting married. 𝐒𝐸 is getting married. One of them is getting married. And he's in charge of his bachelorette bachelor party, which they're doing in Vegas. Basically what happens in Vegas doesn't really stay there. The book was really angsty and tension filled, and you can tell these characters have had a lot of history because a few years back they kissed. Jordan was basically like, let's not do this, you don't really like me, like this might be a phase. Seeing them come together was really beautiful. Something does happen in Vegas, and then when they get home it's kind of like a shit show. But I just really loved the storytelling of it all, the emotion, the spice, obviously. So that's one of my favorite books. I reread that, 5 out of 5 stars. Then I received The Arc for Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is book 3 in the Chestnut Springs series. There is Flawless, Heartless, and book 3 is Powerless. The friends to lovers romance. The female lead leaves her fiance at the altar after finding out that he's cheating on her. And Jasper is there to take her away in his truck. Something is happening with the family, and so Jasper ends up getting benched from his team because his head's just not in the game, and so his coach is like, you know what, take some time off, get your shit together and come back. So both of them are basically, you know, like hiding out, and dad needs something picked up, so they end up on a road trip together. I didn't really enjoy this book. I felt like there were multiple things happening in the book that didn't really make sense to me. Relationship dynamic between them, I felt was a bit forced and uneven. There was, okay, so Sloane has been obsessed with Jasper for as long as she can remember because they grew up together. The way it's written is basically like he never paid her any attention, and so while they're on this road trip he's like, do you not have eyes? Have you not noticed? Like everyone else knows, like I had a thing for you too, but obviously there was something stopping us from being together, and I don't want to say what that is because it's gonna spoil it. But basically when she finds out what that is, she like throws a fit, and I didn't really enjoy that. I felt like she was leading it all down to him to make a move when she could have made a move, you know? And so I felt like that was unfair. And the way his character was written, it was like she wanted him to be a bit dominant but didn't follow through all the way with that. So some of the spice scenes were a bit odd to me. The conflict, didn't really enjoy that either. So yeah, I was a bit sad about that. So I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't my favorite. However, I do want to read the next book because that is going to be fire. Okay, it's going to be Summer's sister, Winter. And we get a little glimpse of them in this book. It's going to be so good. I also can't wait for Beau's book, and I see that she's saving him for last. So yeah. Then I read The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is book 2 in her Windy City series. It's a sports romance, best friend's brother, forced proximity, and a little bit of fake dating. And boy, when I tell you, I am obsessed with Ryan motherfucking Shea. Okay, this book follows Indy and Ryan. Indy has recently broken up with her boyfriend because she found him cheating on her, and she is a flight attendant just like Ryan's sister. They were flight attendants, and that's how they met. So she doesn't really have a home base. She was living in Chicago, I think is where they are, with her boyfriend, and so now she's kind of like, I don't have anywhere to go, I don't want to go home. And so her best friend asked her brother Ryan, who is like hella grumpy, he stays to himself, he's very much focused on his game, he's a basketball player. She's like, can you let her live here? And he's like, no, this girl is a mother, she's a mess. Like the first night they met, she was crying, and I think she was drunk and threw up all over him on one of the things. So obviously he lets her stay there, and watching these two fall in love, like, oh my god, it was so good. His nickname for her is even so freaking cute. She likes for people to call her Indy, but he's calling her Indiana because he assumes Indy is short for Indiana, but her name is really Indigo, and so he nicknames her Blue. Like so fucking cute. She also like only drinks iced coffee every morning when he wakes up. They kind of have like breakfast together, like that's their thing. And so he makes her coffee and puts it in the fridge instead of putting ice in it so that it doesn't get watered down, and he does that for her every morning. And then like she's also obsessed with plants and flowers, and he like buys them for her and like waters them for her when she's out of town. And he trusts nobody, okay, because of something that happened to him in the past. So he has like a weird relationship with women and people in general, especially, you know, because he's in the spotlight. And just watching him lower his guard and like let her in against his will, like he tried to fight it obviously, but it was just so fucking cute. And it was just he make like a to-do list for both of them, him like helping her, you know, regain her independence and how to be strong by herself while she is single. And then she writes a list for him to like go out more, be more social. And one of the things on her list was like to not line her pillows on one side of her bed, to like sleep in the middle of the bed. And it was just so good. So how they end up fake dating is that now he's the captain of his team, and his coach basically, he just doesn't like him. And so he's like, I know who you are on the court, but I need more from you. Coach is like obsessed with his wife. So one day Indy goes to the basketball court because she got locked out, and their little interaction made them look like they were dating, and the coach was like into that. So he's like, will you like fake date me so my coach will like me? So many cute moments in the book that made my heart like skip a beat. It was just so amazing. Oh, did I forget to mention that Ryan has been celibate or abstinent for like 5 years? Gives him a massage one night, y'all, and he whimpered. Stand up! When I say that was so hot, my heartbeat here and heartbeat there. Oh my god. Oh my god. It was so good. 5 out of 5 stars. I love that book. It's my whole freaking personality at this point, and I cannot wait for the next book. Oh my god, so good. Then I read Plie by A.H. Cunningham. This is like a dom sub type of book. The main female character and the male lead know each other because his daughter takes at school. She's a dance teacher. And they hate each other. He's like the overbearing, not overbearing parent, but like the know-it-all parent, or like, you know, those, what is the name? Like those parents who are just in everything and know more than everyone and volunteers for everything. And he's kind of like a pain in her ass. He is taking care of her grandparents. And when money is kind of tight, she goes to this club to be like a sub for hire. And they wear masks. So he's a new dom. So she's teaching him how to be a better dom, even though she's a sub. And so the first few times when they encounter each other, they kind of know that it's, you know, it's them. But they basically agreed to never talk about who they are in public or never acknowledge it. So watching them build that relationship as dom and sub, and then watching it shift from hate to love, you know, from teacher to parent, that was very interesting. And it was also very spicy. It is a Black romance as well. I forgot to mention that. And I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it, I didn't put stars on my template this month because I feel pressure when I do that. So I think I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Cupids Peak by 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐥𝐬. It was a Valentine's Day novella following Mia and a guy she went to high school with, who's now a major league hockey player, I think it was. And her sister basically sets her up on a blind date with him. And so when she shows up, she's like, oh my god, it's you. And he's like, yeah, it's me, your sister didn't tell you. And they were friends, right? Like she used to tutor him in high school. He had a thing for her, but he was like super popular and she was like a nerdy girl, so she didn't feel like, you know, she would be his type. Like, she's a reader, she likes to be at home, she's a homebody, she works from home, and she's just not as outgoing as he is. So she never shot her shot, and he just thought, you know, she thought he was a dumb jock, and so he never shot a shot. So it's Valentine's Day, they're on this date, and then there was like a blizzard, so they end up stuck there. And the restaurant is also like a cabin, so they have rooms there. During dinner, they end up starting to play like truth or dare. and so obviously he dares her to like let her guard down for a night and just like explore things, and it was really cute and it was very spicy and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I read Hail Mary by Candy Steiner. This is the last book in the Red Zone Rival series. Book 1 was Fair Catch, book 2 was Blind Side, book 3 was Quarterback Sneak, and then Hail Mary. This one is like enemies to lovers and a little bit of second chance. Mary doesn't have anywhere to live because her place is flooded. And so next door, Leo and 3 of the guys from the football team, he obviously offers for her to live there. Mary hates him, but he has no idea why. Okay, so the backstory behind that is they play video games. Mary met online when they were in high school. Mary never revealed her identity to him when they were speaking online, but she knew who he was, right? And he always asked her, he's like, so when are you gonna tell me who you are? And basically she walked up to him one day in high school, and she's currently a tattoo artist, so she's an artist in general, and so she drew him something, and so she met him one day on the football field and hands him the picture while his friends are standing around. Now, he didn't know that it was her. His friends made fun of her and bullied her from that day on because she was a bigger girl, and I think she had glasses and braces at the time. Mary was like, fuck you, basically. They ruined her the rest of her high school career for until now. She looks completely different. She's still thick. She has tattoos all over, and he doesn't remember any of this. So it was very tender and very angsty. I felt the secret of her knowing who he was and him not knowing was a little drawn out. Like, I felt like it should have been revealed a little bit sooner because she was being so mean to him, and he had obviously, you know, changed from back in the day, and I felt like he was working a lot to make her like him. Like, he let her move into their house, and he's doing all these things. He's sleeping on the couch so she could have his room, like just a bunch of things. And so I would have liked for them to have been together sooner in the book. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's very funny. There were lots of like reminiscing, and he did a lot of cute things for her. Like, there was one night when they were sitting out on like the balcony, and she told him that she always wanted to wear like her boyfriend or someone who she was dating's Letterman jacket in high school, and so like he went to get her his freaking Letterman jacket and put it on her. It was really spicy. Apparently he has a big, you know, member. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a very good book. 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read the B-side by Zahara. I can't lie, this book was a mess. I don't even really want to talk about it, to be honest, so I'm not. Sorry. Damn. It gets a little bit odd here. So I started Painted Scars by Neva Altaj. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a series of a bunch of mafia books. I've seen the paperbacks and they look relatively thin, so all of them are pretty short. This one, honestly, I don't remember much about it. I remember that it was an arranged marriage and like opposites attract. Nina's dad is in debt with the mafia, and so the mafia don, now Roman, he got shot and now he's in a wheelchair. So everyone's like questioning his leadership, and they're like, he needs to either get married so still an heir or whatever, and he's like, okay, I'll get married. He blackmails Nina into marrying him. Married, she moves in, and she's very like spunky and like got a whole attitude, and she's also like a little bit of an actress. Sit and plot out her character, like who she's gonna be around people, and it was really funny. They're funny together. It was very fast paced. It was a good read, but I obviously don't remember anything from it. I might circle back to the series. Yeah, that's all I have. Series called. Then I started The Royal Bastards MC Reno, Nevada. This the Book Refuge on here on YouTube. She talked about book 5 in the series, which is an MMF, and I wanted to read that, but I have OCD, so I started from the beginning. So I started with book 1, and it's Birdies Biker. It follows Birdie and Loki, which is Bridget, and I don't remember his real name. Her father he created, I think he created a cure or some type of virus to end cancer, and it's like a really big deal. Someone finds out, they blackmail him, shoot him, almost kill him, and steal the vial. And so he hires the bikers to retrieve it and take that person out. And in the process, he's like, I also want you guys to keep my daughter safe. So they take her with them, obviously against her will. She's 18 years old and very freaking naive. Like, grew up privileged, obviously. White girl, doesn't really know what the real world looks like, and now she has to live with a biker club. And you know, if you've ever read a motorcycle club, you know they call the girls club whores, and there's just a bunch of different lingo and lifestyle that she has to get adjusted to. She tries to escape, she runs her mouth a lot, and he ends up putting her in a cage. So yeah, that was really interesting. I liked their relationship. Like I said, she was naive, so there were times where I'm like rolling my eyes like, girl. And he's older, so it's also age gap. He was 35 and she's 18. So it was cute. I enjoyed that one. I think I gave it 4 stars. Then I read the second book, Truly's Biker, which follows Rosh, R-O-C-H, and Truly. This is age gap as well. Mother's and dead father's best friend. Rosh was in the military with her dad, and her dad didn't make it, and when he got home, he went to their house to give them a letter the dad wrote, and that was when she was 8 years old. And he was also with the father and went through horrendous things, and so now he's selectively mute. So he speaks, but just like one word and not, you know, like not full sentences. And so the mom kind of takes him under his wing and they become a family. Not really a family, but like if something goes wrong, they call him and he goes over there for dinner and stuff. So she's been in love with him since she was younger, and now she's 19 and rebelling, like hooking up with random dudes, and her mom calls Rosh to pick her up and stuff like that. Doesn't know what he does. In book 1, something happens and he brings someone from the club to the mom because she's a vet to patch them up. So the mom knows he's like, you know, not in good company. Basically, they end up messing around. She kisses him. She finds out what he does, and you know, she's like, I can't believe, you know, like you're a murderer and this, that, and the third. I don't want to spoil the story. So when the conflict arises, she decides to stay with Rosh, and her mom did not like that, and she eventually kicks her out. Really enjoyed watching them together. I really enjoy when there is disability rep in books. He doesn't sign or anything, but he slowly starts to speak a little bit more because of her and opens up more. He's always been kind of like an enigma in the club. Like, no one really gets him. They just know like he would take a bullet for them. I did not like Truly though. She was more naive than Birdie in book 1. And so I feel like, you know, Rosh deserved a little bit better. But I really enjoyed it anyway. I gave that one 3.5. Then I read Bexley's Biker. This is enemies to lovers. He is on trial for something and she's his lawyer basically. He gets him out on bail. He has a, what you call it, bracelet thing on his foot, so he can't go very far. Anyway, she's on the run. They found her basically, and so now she needs the protection of the club, but she despises, you know, what they do. She's just working for them, you know, for money, obviously, keeping the bad guys out of jail within the limits of the law. Liked their banter. I like them going back and forth and, you know, bickering, but you could tell that he really wanted a relationship out of what it was that they had, and she was just so reluctant and almost a little bit mean to him at times. Makes up for that, and I really enjoyed theirs. I think I gave this one 4 stars. It was very good. It was very interesting. I liked the little plot twist in here, and this one is spicier than the other 2 as well. So I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. Then, okay, so then I read This Very Moment by Kimberly Brown. It was a novella of the wedding of Callie and Thane. from The Last Sad Song, which I read last month. It was one of my favorite books of last month. So we get to see her wedding planning, what life is like right now. And it was just a smutty good time. And also kind of emotional. Like, I cried for them because I was just so happy that she had finally found love. And I love these types of novellas where an author follows up on a couple so we can see where they are now. And it was just a lot of love, friendship. So it was a smutty good time. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved being back with them because they're just so perfect for each other. Ate it up. Then my slump hit me really hard and I was like, what do I do? You know, like, I tried another novella and it wasn't working for me. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to cry. So I read Before Us by 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐥𝐬, and oh my god, such a fucking good book. Oh my god, this book did some things to me. Oh my god, it was a good book. This book follows Zach Emerson and his wife Susie. Susie is terminally ill. She has cancer, and Zach is a pilot, and they hire Emerson as a maid to come in once a week and clean their house so he can have more time with his wife. Emerson is a college student who recently had some money troubles because she has epilepsy, and so it came down to her choosing whether or not she was going to pay for her meds or pay her rent, and she needed her meds, so she's now living out of her car. She comes in and she starts cleaning their house every Tuesday, and she slowly develops like a relationship with Susie. They're both older than her. Emerson is 23 and Zach was 32 at the time, so a little bit of an age gap there. So Susie kind of becomes like her older sister type best friend thing. I really loved their friendship. It was just so genuine and authentic, and she really helped Susie not feel like she was sick. Like, everyone else in her life made her feel like she was dying, which she was, but I think Susie just came in and saw her for the person that she was and just enjoyed the time that she had left with her. He was there a lot, but he was also flying. So when he was flying, Emerson would stay later to clean, and just like, she let Susie braid her hair. She talked about her boyfriend, and they just really built a strong friendship. And there's sprinkles of times where Susie like says little slick things to insinuate like, after I'm gone, it's okay. Now, Emerson and Zach never interacted with each other much while Susie was alive. I don't think either of them realized anything was there. Emerson was so attracted to him, obviously. Like, he's an attractive dude. The way he loves his wife so deeply and so powerfully and so strongly. I need Zach, okay? I'm going to move to Atlanta and find him, and we're gonna live happily ever after. It's happening because he's real. I refuse to believe that he's words on paper.
Child. Anyway, so
she passes away, obviously, at like the 30% mark. And when I went into the book, that's what I was counting on. I'm like, okay, when she dies, I know I'm gonna cry. I did not, though. It was very sad, and I did get choked up, but I did not cry. Oh, and when they found out that she was living in her car, so they moved her in. So after she passes away, she sticks around with him through the funeral. He gets himself together as much as he could to go back to work. Emerson is a photographer, and she gets an opportunity with another photographer to travel the world together and take photos. And throughout that time, her and Zach have kind of like build a routine. When he's home, they eat dinner together or they watch a movie together. He leaves and she goes on tour with the girl to, you know, take photographs and build up her social media. She has a seizure. Zach is like, Susie told me I needed to do something after she passes away. I need to do something for someone else. I need to make a mark in someone's life. And so he decides to marry her so that she can get insurance. So they get married and they don't tell his family. Nobody knows. The lines between her being his wife, like she is his wife because they're married legally, and him still referring to Susie as his wife was so hard. And was so sad, but so beautiful, because he's grieving his wife, but he's already fallen in love with someone else, and he's torn about that. I don't believe that it was written in a way where it felt like she was guilty about it, but of course she did, you know, compare herself to Susie at times, because she's like, well, we're married now, even though it's just for insurance. Obviously they did hook up at one point, and so the lines just got blurred. Time goes by. They're married for about 2 years or so. Something happens at 90% of the book. 90% is when I bawled my fucking eyes out, okay? At 3 a.m. in the morning, I was ready to end it all, and it hurt so good. Like, how do I say it hurt so good? But it did. It hurt so good, and I was like, oh my god, this cannot be happening. I really did not anticipate that happening, and so when it did, I was like, yes, but also, oh my god. It does have an HEA, and it was such a beautiful book. I don't know what it is about books that deal with grief that always do something for me, but I really resonated with his grief and how he handled that. And I just think it was a beautiful story, because Zach just had so much love to give. So much love to give. His love language is acts of service, words of affirmation, and just, oh my god. When he would call her his wife, oh my god. And this was a slow burn. And so the first time he calls her his wife, why? I had to clench my thighs, girl. I don't know why that was so good. I mean, it normally hits in fake dating or arranged marriage situations, but in this, because there was so much emotion and tension built up between them for so long, oh my god, it was great. It was amazing. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I wanted to read it as soon as I was done with it, and now I'm going to read her entire backlist, because my friend Marley Valentine had been telling me to read her books for a long time, but I'm a mood reader, and so it took me a long time to read it, but now I'm like, okay, yeah, she can take all my monies. Those are the 14 books I read in February, the month of love, which, oh my god, I forgot to tell you guys about my sweatshirt. This is from a very bookish shop owned by Grace and Maggie. She sent this to me. I believe I have a code that can get you guys money off, but isn't it cute? That's what I'm wearing today. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you read any of the books that I mentioned go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. If you plan on reading any of them, also let me know down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to put your post notifications on so you get notified when I post another video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye. Hi guys, welcome. God, I need to end this video now. This is killing me. How the fuck do I start a video? Get it together. That's 4 times 4. 16, right? Let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14. I can count. Okay, let's try this again.